Welcome to Side Hustle Rules. My name is Lou Reyes. Well, today I'm going to be sharing with you my best and worst side hustles of 2022. And I want you to know that on most of these side hustles, I've either done them myself or I know someone who's done the side hustle. So I'll be giving you the inside story. Now, something else that I've also done is I've also did a little bit of research on each of the hustles, and I've got about 10 that I'm going to be telling you about today. So when I give you the side hustle, I'll be telling you the good, the bad, the ugly, and I'm also going to make a recommendation if I think this is a side hustle worth doing. So listen, if you're serious about starting a side hustle and making some money in 2022, check out this video. Come on! Welcome back to Side Hustle Rules. My name is Lou Reyes. Now, before I jump into the best and the worst side hustles of 2022, what I want to do is I want to let you know that you can get a free copy of my Side Hustle Starter Kit. It's in the description box. You just got to click on the link. And this Side Hustle Starter Kit, what it does is it walks you through the very basic, the first steps of starting your own side hustle. Now, something else I do want to ask you to do, or at least consider doing, is subscribing to Side Hustle Rules. If you're looking for information about how to start a side hustle, how to build it, how to grow it, well, you are in the right place, my friend. So consider subscribing to Side Hustle Rules. So now let's get to my list of the best and worst side hustles of 2022, and I'm going to start with DoorDash. If you're somebody who's looking to make some quick cash, well, you know what, DoorDash, it could be the hustle for you, but in my opinion, there are lots of inherent challenges in this hustle, and a big one for me is the wear and tear on your car, not to mention the gas expense and the fact that there are customers who don't give you those tips that you really hope that you're going to get. And personally, this isn't a job. It's not a hustle that I'd want my kids doing because I think there are better hustles out there. But that doesn't mean dashers as delivery people are called, it doesn't mean dashers don't like the work and that they don't make money. According to Indeed.com, overall, dashers give this hustle 3 out of 5 stars, with some of the pros being that you get to choose your own hours and you get to choose the orders that you take. Now, it's a good gig if you need quick money, but some of the cons are some things that I've already mentioned, like, hey, you're adding miles on your car and gas is expensive, and you're constantly, as one of the reviewers said, you're constantly needing to fill up every other day. And what's the hourly pay for a dasher? Well, according to dashers that I spoke to, that I talked to, you can make around $20 to $25 per hour before expensive. That depends on the territory and how much driving that you've got to do. You've got to count that time that you're driving from locations because that's a big cost. Now, one of the nice perks, though, about being a dasher in the U.S. is you can withdraw your earnings at least once daily. Now, my read on this gig is this. If you like driving around in your car and you want to make quick cash, yeah, you know what? Dashing's an option. But again, I got to say, don't discount the wear and tear on your car because sooner or later you're going to pay for it. And the price of gas, yeah, that does eat into your profit, and that's no pun intended. So now let's drive over to Instacart. You know, the freedom to work your own schedule and getting as many hours as you want is what attracts many Instacart shoppers to this gig. But not everyone is attracted to Instacart, and that includes Instacart's now former president, Carolyn Everson. In December, Miss Everson, she announced that she was stepping down at the end of the year. That's 2021. And what makes this puzzling, at least to me anyway, is she threw in the towel just 3 months after she joined the company. So I've got my mind wondering what's going on over there. And 2 months before she made the announcement, the head of advertising left Instacart for Walmart. And that does have me wondering. It has me wondering what kind of changes a new boss is going to bring to the company. Now, you may say, hey, Lou, I don't care about that stuff as long as I get paid. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's a really good point. But consider this. An October 2021 article in The Guardian said thousands of workers known as Instacart shoppers across the U.S. why they're asking customers to delete the Instacart app, citing falling pay rates and unsafe working conditions for their request. Instacart gig workers, they're organizing. They're organizing as the gig worker collective, and they want the restoration of features the app had previously. And that includes a reinstatement of Instacart's commission pay model. They want shoppers themselves to be paid per order versus bundling. And they want a 10% default tip on the app. Hey, who can blame them for that? They also want transparency about how orders are assigned, and they want a rating system that doesn't hurt shoppers for issues that are outside of their control. You know, this drama, it gives me reason to question working for Instacart. Is it really a good idea in 2022? Is it a good hustle? I know, got a good friend who works for Instacart. She makes some decent money. Yeah, she makes well over $100 a day. She busts her butt and she works hard. But even she, someone who is super motivated, someone who wants to work every single day, even she's got problems with Instacart, I gotta say it's not a hustle I'm gonna recommend. YouTube. YouTube. How do I like thee? Let me count the ways. Well, I like making videos for my channels for over 50 TV and for Side Hustle Rules. I love doing that because I enjoy sharing my experience. And I also like the challenge of striving for views. That's always fun, looking at those numbers. And I like the opportunity. I love the opportunity to leverage my viewership to generate additional revenue. But make no mistake about it, my friends. Starting a YouTube channel, it's a major learning experience, especially if you got no experience in the video production world, which, got to be honest with you, I had almost zero experience in that field. And starting a YouTube channel, well, that means you're going to have to write scripts. You're going to have to learn how to shoot videos, which isn't so easy sometimes. You're going to have to learn how to edit videos, design thumbnails, and you're going to really have to learn how to upload videos. And you may also want to buy yourself a crystal ball, because that may be the only way that you're going to be able to predict when that YouTube algorithm, that all-powerful YouTube algorithm, will steer viewers to your videos. And when it comes to learning the basics, well, you know what? I'll be honest, man. It took me 6 months to get comfortable, and it took me another year to become what I would just say is somewhat proficient at video production. So in terms of difficulty, and I will say difficulty, I'd say that it depends on a person's background, but more importantly, it depends on your determination to make it work. I do want to mention that startup costs are relatively low because you can shoot video with a smartphone, which is really the only way I would ever recommend that you start out. You can also edit it on your smartphone, and there are plenty of free or low-cost editing apps to help you to do it. Now, making money is another story. It took me over a year to qualify for YouTube monetization, which means, as many of you already know, that YouTube pays 55% of every dollar that they receive from an advertiser who runs an ad in one of your videos. Now, to qualify for monetization, you've got to have a minimum of 1,000 subscribers, and you've got to achieve at least 4,000 hours of watch time, and that takes a while. It took it a while for me anyway. The first month, though, after my channel was monetized, I'm going to tell you, I earned only a few bucks. The second month, though, I was kind of happy because I earned over $600. My third month, wow, it saw my revenue jump up to over $2,300, and I was ecstatic. But that was the high. It hasn't been that high in a while. So what am I going to say about YouTube? Yeah, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Retail. Yeah, retail. Well, retail is a side hustle option that many people turn to make extra cash. And sometimes it's to supplement an income, or maybe they just want to save up for a major purchase. But regardless of your cash need, retail is a challenging road to go down. If you get in with a typical retailer, and I think they're all typical retailers, which in my experience means they just want a body. They all, or virtually all of them, have high turnover, and they got plenty of employees who learn pretty quickly, if they're smart anyway, they learn pretty quickly that going through the motions like a zombie is the best way to get through the day. Now, one good thing about working retail, I'm going to say this. It is a field that's relatively easy to get into, since most retail jobs, they don't require experience or special skills. So if you're desperate for a job, or you're right out of school and you need to get some work, yeah, try retail. You could be working at a Kohl's where you might break $10 an hour. If you get into a Target, I think it's more like $15 an hour, and sometimes they'll give you a bonus or two. But something I do want to point out is that if you are working retail, what you're going to find is most retail managers are young, and they've got little to no experience managing people. Which means if you're working under one of those folks, you're going to be getting some unreasonable requests, and you're going to experience anyway frequent displays of authority, like being talked down to. Now, if you can stomach those issues, well, retail, I'm going to say it's a decent place to land for a short amount of time if you really need to make some extra cash. But if you're planning to make retail a career, and why in the world would you? In my opinion, if you're going to do that, the only thing to do is to go into management. Number 5 on our list of best and worst side hustles for 2022 is Fiverr. Before I get into Fiverr's nuts and bolts, let me just tell you that Fiverr is a freelance marketplace that connects freelancers with people who need their services. And when I started out in freelance years ago, I wish we would have had Fiverr, because I know it would have helped me, especially just when I was starting out. And I find what's cool about Fiverr is if you're a freelancer and you want to connect with people who will pay you for your service, well, you know what? Hanging up your shingle at Fiverr, it's a good option. But there are some things that I do want you to be aware of before you do that. Fiverr's cut for connecting you with a Fiverr client is 20% of what you charge Fiverr's client. And second, I want to mention this and make sure I'm clear about it. They are Fiverr's clients. You don't own the relationship. That honor, yeah, it does belong to Fiverr. And the thing that I do know is if you try to take the client outside the platform, you try to take them away from Fiverr so you can work with them on your own, well, you could lose access to Fiverr. So those are some things that I think you should know about Fiverr. My recommendation is this. I wouldn't build, or I don't suggest that you build your entire hustle around Fiverr. Certainly not if you're planning to grow your hustle into a full-time business. But since I'm talking about Fiverr, I do want to mention another platform that is very similar to Fiverr. It's called Upwork. They do have nuances, things that do make them different. But Upwork, like Fiverr, you don't own the relationship. I personally use Upwork. I like Upwork a lot. I found some pretty good people on that platform. It's an easy platform to work with. So if I'm going to start out, if I'm a freelancer and I'm starting out, yeah, you know what? I would use one of these two platforms. I'm going to give them a thumbs up, especially if you're just starting out, or if you're somebody who doesn't want to hop on the phone and try to bring in some customers. Yeah, use one of these two platforms. Day trading, that is number 6 on my list, and I'm going to tell you why it's on my list. It's on here because I thought about doing day trading. I did a lot of research. And what I found after I read a CNBC article is that many day traders got into day trading, at least in the beginning, it says. They got into it during the COVID-19 pandemic, and they got into it because they were bored. But a recent survey of 1,500 investors says this now. Says 58% of respondents, people who day trade, they got into it because they want to make more money in a shorter period of time. So how do day traders make that money? Well, according to Investopedia, day traders typically buy stocks, they buy options, futures, commodities, or currencies, and that does include crypto. And they hold those positions for hours, minutes, or maybe just seconds before they sell. And their goal is to profit from short-term price movements. Now, the problem with the strategy, and I've seen this from all the research I've done in Investopedia, they pointed out, Investopedia says day trading is a highly risky activity with the vast majority of day traders losing money. So what I've concluded about day trading is, number one, I'm not going to do it. And I think it's best summed up. The reason why is best summed up by this clip from somebody I follow on YouTube. His name is Bayahiza. He's an e-commerce entrepreneur, and he's a YouTuber. He's got over 1 million subscribers. And here's what he has to say about day trading.
In a nutshell, if I worked a regular day job and saved up $10,000 and I wanted to use that $10,000 to create a new source of income to generate new money for me, I don't know if I'd go with day trading, just because I feel like there's better opportunities out there that are less risky, that are more reliable and more straightforward.
Number 7 on our list of best and worst side hustles for 2020 is podcasting. 37% of Americans, they listen to at least one podcast every single month, and that number's growing. Revenue, yeah, that is growing too. According to PricewaterhouseCoopers, they say podcasting ad spending was $800 million in 2020, and they think that number is going to double to $1.7 billion with a B by 2024, and that's a 20% growth rate. And that sounds great for the industry, but what I know is this: individual podcasters, to share in that pie, they've got to get listeners to download their podcast. And you know what? That's not an easy feat. I do like podcasting. I like it as a side hustle that complements your main hustle. For example, if you have a YouTube channel like I do, or Instagram account where you got a lot of people who follow you, well, you know what? That's great because you can push people over to your podcast because you've got that audience and you can cross promote both of your platforms. Otherwise, if you don't have one of those platforms, it could take a long time before your podcast gets the downloads that you need to be profitable. Now, there are plenty of people out there making money with podcasting, so I'm not going to say don't get into podcasting. I'm going to say if you get into it, be smart about it. If you want to really make it faster than, say, if you have to trudge through getting a download every day, one or two every day. If you really want to avoid that trudging, if you want to avoid the struggle, do it with or in conjunction with another platform. Number 8 on our list is online consulting. And if you haven't noticed, consulting has gone digital. And I really can say that the pandemic has just reshaped this entire industry. And it reshaped it towards virtualization. And you've got online platforms now like Teachable and Patreon, which have made it much, much, much easier for people who are experts in any field, just about any field, to launch a consulting business. Now, to be sure, and I do want to point this out, Patreon and Teachable, they are distinctly different platforms, but both platforms allow you to connect and engage and sell your services to potential clients. Now, what I like about Teachable, and I do use Teachable, is that with Teachable, you're able to offer an on-demand course that really is designed, that you designed to help a business or an individual solve a problem or learn a new skill, or maybe even help them to start and grow a business. Now, Patreon is one of my favorite platforms. I have a Patreon page, and Patreon, it enables you to build a following of subscribers who pay you every single month for your expertise. It's a great way to build a community. Now, one of the wonderful features, though, of Patreon, which is really pretty cool, is they do have a live streaming feature which allows you to engage and really connect with your members. I think online consulting, I think it could be a super profitable gig. I know online consultants who tell me they do very, very well with online consulting. But if you have a strong desire, and I want to point out, if you've got a strong desire to help others, well, you know what? Consider online consulting, because online consulting is your way to help others. It's your way that you can generate revenue for yourself, and it's also a way for you to build a community. Number nine on our list of the best and worst side hustles of 2022 is online course creator. Now, that market is booming. The e-learning market, you know what? It's expected to exceed $325 billion by 2025, and that's a yearly growth rate of 5%, which is big given the huge number. And becoming an online instructor, well, you know what it does? It means you could be earning from a few $100s per year to a six-figure income. But success in that business, it depends on the quality of your course, and it really depends on how effectively you're able to market it. But what's good is that there are some platforms out there that allow you to create and sell online courses, and that includes Udemy, Teachable, Podia, and Thinkific. Now, I like Teachable because I think Teachable is one of the stronger, and I also know it really is one of the most popular online course creation platforms available. And it's basically an all-in-one platform. It makes it easy to create, market, and sell online courses. So I like that particular course because also I do think it's reasonably priced. But I will tell you, if you decide that you want to get into the online course creation business, I check out some of the others that I've mentioned here, because the 4 that I did mention, each one has its benefits and each one is a good course. I wouldn't have recommended it if it wasn't, but I do recommend online course creation if you're looking to make some big money. And if you have that ability, and I mentioned this previously in some of the other hustles, if you have the ability to market your course, yeah, you know what? You can do very, very well. Number 10 on our list of the best and worst side hustles of 2022, special events. This is one of the most interesting and underrated and unknown of the best and worst side hustles that anyone can do in 2022. I've been producing special events since my business to business magazine days some 2 decades ago. And in my early startup days, I used the cash that I earned from special events to fund my nascent magazine business. And my events, yeah, they eventually grossed hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Special events, to me, I know that they're a great way to make big cash, but special events, producing these things, they're not easy. It's not an easy hustle to start and to make money at. The business takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, and it does take careful planning. And it really helps. I found this to be so true. It really helps if you're not afraid to pick up the phone and make some sales calls. Now, the 2 best ways that I know to get into the special events business are to produce a special event that can leverage the strengths of your current business, or if you produce special events for other organizations. Now, when you're producing events for your business, you make money by selling sponsorships. And when you produce events for other companies, well, you make money by charging a fee. And sometimes you earn a commission on sales, which is really the ideal way of doing it, if you ask me. And if you want to get into this business, if you want to get into it and you don't have any experience, well, here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. I'm going to suggest that you volunteer for a few nonprofit events just to get a good understanding of what you're in for. I also suggest watching YouTube videos on event planning and organizing. And once you have experience and once you feel comfortable, I'm going to suggest that you produce a few real small, very small in-person events. You can even do a couple online events, which is what I would also do. But I would do those before you try to tackle something much larger. It's going to take some patience. Now, in this description box and the description box of this video, I'm going to include what I think is a fascinating article that I just read about how some in the media industry are creating events out of thin air to generate revenue and establish what they're calling an emotional connection with their community. This article could help spawn ideas on how you can use this hustle to earn some big cash. Now, I'm going to say this, and this may be self-serving, you may think it, but I am also available to consult on special events. I love doing special events, got tons of experience. So if you want to send me an email, you want to connect, hey, go ahead and send me an email there. My email is in the description box of this video. Well, there you go, folks. I've just given you the best and worst side hustles of 2022. And I know this was a long video. It was actually about 25 minutes. That's what it's going to come out to after I get done editing the video. But you know what? I outlined 10 hustles. Some are good, some are bad, and some are in between. But I outlined 10 hustles that you can start in 2022 that I know can help you to generate some revenue. It just depends what you're looking for. If you just want something for extra cash, I've outlined that. If you want something that's going to be potentially big, that's going to have value, yeah, I've outlined a few of those for you as well. 2 more things for you. One is if you do want our Side Hustle Starter Kit, it is in the description box. A link is in there. Just click on the link and you'll get our Side Hustle Starter Kit. Also, if you would, please consider subscribing to Side Hustle Rules. Every week we publish videos, and I believe these videos can really be of help to you. So that's all I got for you. As I always say, have a great day, everybody. Come on!